Thanks for joining. Come on in. Come on in.
Hey, Natasha, can I say a few words before we get started?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may, Ms. Nina Gonzalez.
Hi, everybody. Loans by Nina here. The Natasha team is all over the city. I have an event. We're doing some mortgage stuff tonight, but I wanted to encourage everybody on this call. Pay keen attention to all the renovation jewels that are going to be dropped tonight. It makes a huge difference while you're out there searching for property in this short inventory market. So Loans by Natasha, Loans by Nina, thank you so much for being present, and I will catch you on the next one. Please remember to share our Saturday Credit Expo. Everybody on the call, please remember to share that.
Thank you, Nina. Nina's actually on her way to a very big event. Look forward to joining her tonight. And as she mentioned, we do have another seminar coming up on Saturday. If you guys have clients, this presentation is set up for agents today, but if you have clients and they have credit challenges or they have questions, or you just have clients that want to get started in the buying process, like Nina mentioned, we have a limited pool of inventory, but they say if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Well, we're going to have an expert, Miss Terry Kauser, on Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time, guys. We've already had over 300 registrations, and we are here to share this free information so that way we can help you get buyer ready. So it is 6:05 and I will get started. My name is Natasha Robinson. I am Loans by Natasha, and I am here today with my team and with all of you that have joined us to talk about how to have a broader buyer pool for your distressed property. What is a distressed property, right? Some people think a distressed property is one that is being condemned, has the X on it. In Chicago, Illinois, we put X's on our properties that have violations and that are soon to be possibly torn down. But a distressed property is a property that just needs renovation to sell it, right? It's sitting on the market. Anything sitting on the market a long time in this world that we live in right now with so many buyers means that it's either overpriced, or maybe the layout just doesn't work, or they just don't have a vision of what the property can be. Believe it or not, renovation loans, you can simply tear down, and I won't say simply, but you can tear down a property and rebuild it on a renovation loan. How about that? But you can also treat mold, mildew, you can add additions, you can go up and out, you can have those exits on the properties, you can have several building violations. You can even have a permanent injunction on a closed court case and still move forward with a renovation loan. So we are here today to tell you all about that. You will have my information where you can email me with additional questions. We are going to be coming out with a renovation hotline where you will be able to just tune in and answer questions, and either myself or my team will get back to you right away. You can scan the QR code. On that QR code, it's going to ask you some questions, and that way we can get specific answers to if you have specific scenarios that need more than a general answer. So once again, I am Natasha Robinson, Loans by Natasha. I am excited to be with you guys tonight and present to you how you can turn these distressed properties, how you can turn your renovation listings into buyers, and how you can create income just from a listing that nobody wants right now. So I'm going to go to my first slide, and I'm going to ask the magic question. What do you think of a renovation loan? So if you guys want to jump in the chat and just put your thoughts. What do you think when you think renovation loan? What do you think when you hear the word FHA 203K? Hard money. What do you think when you think of these words that drop across your email? First thing that comes to your mind. I've asked this question in the past, and I get never going to close, very difficult, hard to do. And let's just see what the chats are saying. But we get so many different, exactly, Joe, difficult to approve. And this is the number one response, right? Renovation loans are not difficult. However, you have to have worked with someone that has experience, because guess what? If you're working with a loan officer and they don't do renovation, they're going to make it seem more difficult, or they're going to talk you out of the renovation loan because they want to keep your business, and they're hopeful that maybe you'll just buy a property that doesn't need a renovation loan. But renovation loans are actually one of the key players to what we call house hacking, right? And it's also one of the biggest ways to gain equity through real estate. We always talk about generational wealth. Well, renovation loans can allow you to come in like an investor with little money down and still get to the finish line on your project. Hey, Shalonda. Shalonda Taylor from my team is on the call as well. Types of renovation loans at guaranteed rate affinity. So like I said, in Loans by Natasha, I'm always going to be linked to whatever programs. Even if guaranteed rate doesn't offer a program, I generally can refer you to someone else that does renovation loans or whatever you need. My job is to stay connected to everyone in the industry, so that way I can be a resource to you to help you get to the finish line, even if it's a program that I don't offer. Right now, I am offering the FHA 203K Streamline and Standard. Many only do the Streamline that only allow 35,000 in repairs total. We offer the full blown 203K where you can go all the way to whatever your county loan limits are. And the loan limits are very high in Cook County right now. So we have a lot of bandwidth to have way more purchasing power than we did a couple of years ago. We have that bandwidth now. We offer a conventional loan product. Every time I say the word conventional, people think I have to put 20% down. They think that they have to have all of this extra money in the bank, and they think they have to be investors. Well, we do have a conventional renovation loan program. And in that program, you can put 3% down on a 1-unit property, but you can put only 5% down on a 2, 3, or 4-unit property. And what I love about that is in Cook County, our loan limit on a 4-unit is 1.3 million. So guess what? Your buying opportunity is crazy because you can do the purchase price plus renovation to 1.3 million, of course, as long as that property will appraise out. We offer VA renovation. VA renovation is for our veterans. We have some awesome programs for our veterans. They have to put no money down and they can include some renovation loans, right? We do renovation refinances. I just had 3 people call me today for a renovation refinance. I will never refinance you into a renovation loan if it doesn't make sense. Why would it not make sense? One, you have a 2% interest rate and you have a lot of equity. Now I'm going to refer you to someone else that can assist you, right? Renovation refinances are a big deal. You just have to use the product correctly. And once we do a one-on-one with your client, we can advise. But say, for instance, you want to list this client's property and they plan to stay there for a good year. You can go into a renovation refinance, let them renovate it. They can live in it for a year and enjoy it for a little while. And then you can come back and list that property for them with those repairs that they were able to include in that refinance. Say, for instance, they got building violations and the porch needs to come down. They can do a renovation refinance instead of losing their property to court for building violations. So the renovation refinance can really do some justice for clients. And there's other programs as well, but it's our job to let you know what programs are available. We do, Joe, offer the DSCR loans. I don't have that in this presentation. It's a really good program, and we actually just got some new DSCR loan options where the property doesn't have to cover the mortgage. So definitely give us your information and I can give you a one-on-one on the DSCR loans. Types of repairs. Pretty much everything is what I shouldn't say, but it is pretty much everything. Like I said, you can go up, you can go out, you can go down, you can pretty much do whatever the property will appraise for. Unlike HGTV, they go do all of this work and they say, okay, now here's the value. The work that you do does have to be within the scope of the work, has to make sense, and you have to have other properties in your area within 1 year and 1 amount that have appraised. Now, of course, if you want to do things like build a tree house or build things that doesn't make sense, of course, those are going to be things that you can't do. But when I say pretty much everything, I'm talking about everything it takes to live, right? So you can have nice appliances. You can have 48-inch appliances. You may not be able to have marble from Italy for $100,000 just for the kitchen, but you'll be able to still get some upgradable tile that can give you that value of that $1.3 million at the end of the day. And I am lucky enough to have an awesome team. And I know she's mad at me when I said pretty much everything. So right now I want to bring on Miss Sherry Tedesco. She has been on my team for quite some time. She has many, many years experience in the industry, and I won't take it all away from her, but I'll let her come in now just to introduce herself and just talk about the repairs that we can do. And we're not going to go through every single program, but just giving you a brief and let you know who she is, what she does, and why my team is so awesome, and how we actually get these deals to the closing table on time because we have a great team.
Hi, thanks, Natasha. I'm Sherry Tedesco. I've been doing renovation loans for 23 years, and I wouldn't do anything different. They're a lot of fun once you get comfortable with them. You don't get scared about them. The main thing is with these renovation loans, you can do anything you want, but the main thing is you need to really have a relationship with your contractor when you find one. So if you're going to start looking at properties and you're looking at distressed properties, you probably want to start asking friends and families, you know, do you have a contractor you liked, and start checking them out, because once you do that, it's going to be smooth sailing. So some of the repairs we were talking about, you can do anything. You can do additions. If the property's not appraising out, like if you get in a bidding war, you can just do new appliances, and that will allow us to go 110% of the appraised value. So those are just some of the things.
Awesome. And then I put this little before and after picture here, guys, so you can see, you know, just things, how they look before, you know, how things can look afterwards, as it relates to just doing renovation loans. We have lots of pictures and lots of properties that we can show you, but renovation loans has changed lives of many people. And I'm gonna tell you, I have had clients that come in with $150,000 in equity in the door. It doesn't happen all the time, but I have seen people get really good equity in renovation loans. And for all my listing agents on the loan, why would you choose a renovation loan over cash? I thought you never asked. Let me tell you why. Because oftentimes cash offers are going to be less than a buyer that is not going to live in the property. Why? Because they are not flipping. They are not looking to make a profit. They are looking to live there. And as Sherry said, we can even go to 106% loan to value on an FHA, which means now they even have more room to stretch the bar if they were to choose to, right? So with that being said, sometimes the sellers want you to take cash because they just want that quick closing. A lot of the renovation properties are owned by banks. And guess what? The banks already own the money. So how much better of a listing agent would you be if you found a phenomenal loan officer that was going to keep it real with you throughout the process and communicate properly, close that deal in 37 days or less, and allow your bank to walk away with $30,000 extra, right? Because they didn't choose the cash offer. So what? They waited 37 extra days. They already own the money. They are the bank. So why not wait a little extra time to get a little more bang for their buck? So now they want to be in a longer term relationship because what you're telling them makes sense. Now, if you want to be that listing agent, you have to be on point. You have to verify that your loan officer knows what they're doing, or just allow me to be the loan officer just to save some extra work from you. And you have to communicate on your files to make sure that you know what's going on and you don't put yourself in a situation to say, oh, I wish I would have chose the cash offer. Now, you are going to get things that happen on a renovation loan that are uncontrollable, like the buyer comes in, they're not a cash buyer, so they don't have as much experience, and maybe they thought they could do it for $50,000 when the job is really going to be for $150,000. Where that is part of me and Sherry's consultation. So when we're talking to these clients, we're letting them know that you can't rehab a basement for $8,000 anymore. We're giving them estimated costs. No, we are not contractors, and we definitely want them to speak to the professional for what really can happen. But what we want to do is give them the reality that it can cost your $8,000, but it's more common to cost $20,000 to $40,000, right? So now in their mind, they know they have to take that time to start getting those bids early so they're not disappointing that seller. All, in my opinion, people need to have their numbers within that first 7 days, that attorney review, and not exact numbers, but at least a contractor that can tell them that they're in the right range of pretty much how much they want to spend. Why? Because it's very important, because the numbers matter and the listing agents matter too, right? So we don't want to hold a property up for 3 weeks just because we weren't on point, making sure we got our bids back. And what Sherry and I do is we actually make sure our contractors, and we can't force them to do it, but we try to get our buyers to make sure they have 5 contractors in their Rolodex if they're thinking of renovation. You don't go under contract and start trying to find a contractor. You need to already have those referrals in place, because it's not fair to the seller to have to wait on you to do the work you should have done, you know, prior to get started. And we do 203K all day. I tell everybody, when I say 203K, you say all day, because we really do 203K. And the way we do it is through education and through making sure that we have the right buyer for a renovation loan. Renovation is not for everybody. Everybody cannot do a renovation loan. It's just, you have to have the time, you have to have the ability to meet contractors, you have to have patience, you have to be someone that is on it. So if you are somebody that is ready for a renovation loan, you know, we definitely want to encourage you to do it. But if you're not, we also want to encourage you not to do it if you don't feel like that works for what you want to do, or that you have the team to be able to do that and get to your next level. So like I said, choosing a renovation over cash, because we can close in 37 days. Oftentimes your renovation loan offer is more than the cash offer. Like I mentioned, get your seller some extra money. Don't be scared of FHA 203K. There's me and there's a few more lenders out there that do a really good job at 203K. I'm not gonna say I'm the only one, but just make sure that if you're accepting an offer for your seller, that you do have the right loan officer on the file, and you give the owner an opportunity to build generational wealth. Stop being so fast to say, give me the $50,000 cash to Gerald, when Betty is just a regular person. She has the same credit score, she can still close on time, and she can help, you can help her build that equity through allowing that opportunity for her to bid on that property. So just throwing that out there to give a little love for my renovation clients. Now, since we talked about that, how do you identify if you have what we call a bullshit renovation pre-approval? And I call it a pre-approval, right? Because I think the biggest reason why agents don't want to accept 203Ks is because they've had a bad experience with another loan officer, right? So I'm going to give you guys a few little tips that you should watch for, right? So if you get a pre-approval on a renovation loan, it should say FHA 203K, home style renovation, VA renovation. If it doesn't say those things, then they probably are in a regular file, and you're probably not going to find out that your property doesn't have the right financing until 1 week before closing, right? So if they don't have the right program on their pre-approval, you should request a pre-approval with the right program, or just go ahead and bypass that offer in the first place, in my opinion. The pre-approval should reflect the purchase price plus the renovation. So if the house is listed for 300,000 and it needs 150,000 in renovation, and the loan amount approved for the client is 300,000, they may not have room for the renovation now. So you want to make sure that that pre-approval includes the purchase price and the renovation for that client. Closing times. So many lenders will put 60 to 90 days on the pre-approval for a renovation loan. What that means is they have a lender who doesn't really do renovation loans all the time, or that they just know their client is slow, or they probably not going to get their bids in time, or they just want to, you know, make sure that they're buying them enough time. It's okay to take a 60-day pre-approval, just so you guys don't have to keep updating paperwork, because it can't take that long if people are getting their contractor bids and things like that. However, you do want to talk to that lender, and you want to talk to the lender that has a history of closing the loans on time, meaning within that 37 to 45 days. And I have a timeline, so I'm going to let you know, guys, know how I got to 37 here pretty shortly, right? Use lenders that you know. Once again, I'm always going to plug Loans by Natasha and my team, but there is some other lenders out there that do a good job with renovation loans. But just do not take the big banks. They're not always the best. I'm sorry, big banks, I know we're live, but they're not always the best for renovation loans. They take a long time. They're 60 to 90 days, but you do have some good competition out here where we can actually get these renovation loans on time with fair pricing. So definitely keep that in mind. What happens after contract, right? So now I'm about to break down how we can close this renovation loan in 37 to 45 days, right? So you go under contract. Congratulations. And when you went under contract and you had a Natasha Robinson pre-approval, that meant that I underwrote the file, I verified documents, they had a conversation with Sherry, we spoke about them finding their contractors, we set expectations of the cost of construction, right? All of those things are done prior to them getting a pre-approval from the Natasha team. So once you receive that offer and you've accepted that contract, you can best believe that all of those things happen, right? So now 48 hours, we are going to schedule what's called the HUD consultant. Now, this isn't a 203K presentation, so we will, you know, we can forward you one if you like, so I won't break it all down. We said we're going to be quick tonight, but we will schedule a consultant if a consultant is needed. If a consultant is not needed, then we would have the contractor schedule, right? Once we get our numbers back, either the contractor bid or the consultant report, we're going to order the appraisal, right? So we're going to be getting the appraisal back. I put 7 to 14, but honestly, we really are going to get that appraisal back within 7 days, but it's probably going to take about 7 days before we order it. So you're going to pretty much have your appraisal back in that 14-day mark, maybe 21 mark. But at that point, your loan has already been submitted to underwriting. You have very limited conditions because we already checked bank statements, large deposits, back underwriting reports. All of that stuff was done before you even went under contract. And now we're giving the client a little bit of time to have more time on getting those bids. It is absolutely hard for you to get all your numbers in 14 days. People want to change things. They have different visions. They may now want to knock down a wall. A bid may have came back at 300,000, so now they have to take some things out. So it does take time, but I will assure you that the loan process really doesn't take more than 3 to 5 days. The appraisal doesn't take more than about 5 to 7 days to come back. It's just the time to get all of the numbers and everything together. How do we prevent the numbers taking forever? What you do is, as the listing agent, you make sure that you demand that they have the consultant, whenever the contractors are coming, have them come on the same day. If you have your favorite contractor, Jack, have him come at 9 a.m. You could spend an hour with Jack and all of that good stuff. Now you can have Ed come at 10, James come at 10:15, and Sammy come at 10:30. You could blame it on me and say, hey, Natasha's making me, you know, get these other bids. But guess what? You're going to learn something on that inspection, number one. Number two, you won't have to keep bugging your listing agent to come back to see the same property. And three, now that they know they're competing against each other, guess what you're going to get? A faster bid, a more competitive bid, and you're just going to save every single person a lot of time. Yes, I know everybody has an Uncle Pookie that can come to the property and give you a bid that you know 9 times, or a family member or a cousin, family member, but 95% of the time they will let you down. So if you have a backup plan, if they do let you down, you're not disappointed, you're prepared. And if they don't, you're going to learn something from getting those extra bids. So this is pretty much our process. Listing agents, you guys have to request updates. I promise you, I have some very upset listing agents calling 2 days before the file is supposed to close, saying, you guys are taking too long, or we didn't know what was going on. If you email the Natasha team, I'm not going to be a breach of contract. I'm going to be able to give you an update or give the buyer's attorney an update. I'm waiting on contractor bids. If the appraisal hasn't been ordered in 7 to 14 days, you have a delay. So you need to be a little more in tune with the process, making sure you have your mortgage commitment, making sure that your appraisal took place, making sure that they have their numbers, just doing that check-in with them. And don't do it in the 30th day or the 40th day. Do that in the 2nd week and the 3rd week. And I promise your communication will allow your loans to close on time. But I'm going to be very honest with you. I have so many listing agents. They do not check in until the day we're supposed to close. And I tell them, I can't just call you and say, hey, listing agent, I'm going to tell on my client we have a problem. But what I will do is I will give an update where you can see what's going on with the file and you can be prepared to what's going on based off that response. So that way, maybe you can get a little more aggressive with your attorney. So that way you can push the buyer to being more on track with getting to the finish line. We talked about this right now, the renovation loan processing timeline, guaranteed rate. You know, we're a bank. They want to say 42 days. 42 days is still good. I'm a little quicker than that. If you guys have deals under contract, I just have a few right now that already has a contract and appraisal. We're getting those out within that 10 to 14 days and turning them around if we can use that appraisal. So we do have some fast ways to get these things done, but we also, you know, have our timeline, which is pretty much kind of what I ran through on our last slide. So that's pretty much my presentation tonight. I said that I was going to try to be quick. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Renovation loans are amazing. You guys can do a lot with your listings. We have renovation signs that you guys can put on your property. Guess what? If they see a property that needs a rehab, they're going to just ride right past it, right? But if they see a sign that says renovation financing available, now they might pump the brakes, right? Because now they see an option for a property or an area that they may like, and then I can then send that buyer back to you after we break everything down. But when there's no communication, when there's no signage, then guess what? The client rides right past. Your listing doesn't have the opportunity to be sold because they don't have those options. So we do have about 80 to 100 of those signs ready to be brought to your properties as early as tomorrow. So if you have properties that need a renovation and you want to sign, definitely let us know. If you guys have any questions, I know that was a lot of information, a lot of information, not too much. We said we were going to keep little information so that way people can really take it in and learn it and ask questions. But do you guys have any questions as it relates to being a listing agent on a renovation loan? Awesome. Well, like I mentioned before, our next event is coming up this Saturday. It's 9 a.m. Central Time. So don't let that 10 a.m. throw you off there, but it is definitely at 9 a.m. Central Time, and you can invite any of your buyers that may have challenged credit. Instead of them sending them to our application, you can have them come on board. Like I said, Terry is amazing. She's doing so much work. She could teach you how to get 200, 300,000 in business credit. She can teach you how to pretty much do everything. She wears a lot of hats, but she has blessed us with her presence this Saturday. So guys, check us out, and thank you so much for joining tonight. And we look forward to continue to bring you more information in the future.
Natasha, I have a quick question.
Okay.
When you were talking about being able to get, I thought I heard Sherry say 110%, but then you said 106% of loan to value on a FHA loan. Can you talk a little bit more about how you're able to do that? I know Sherry had mentioned being able to get appliances in the home.
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's 96.5% of 110%. So Sherry is correct. So it's 110% of the value of the home, and then we're going to take 96.5 of that for the loan amount, and that's pretty much what gets you to the 106%. So we're going to take 110% of the appraised value. So if it appraised for 100,000, then you're working with 110,000. And then your loan amount would be 96.5% of the $110,000 value. So so on a regular and that's a little weird, really tricky math. So I'm glad that you brought that up because it took me a very long time to learn the dynamics of that. But you can go to 110% of the appraised value. So imagine if you're buying a house for 500,000 and it just didn't appraise, you still have room to go to 550 on value because of the 110% rule with FHA.
Got it. Thank you so much for that clarification.
No worries at all. Any other questions? Got it. Well, just so you know, today was just kind of how to be the listing agent pretty much on a renovation loan. We do have other seminars coming out. If there's something that you would like us to bring to you or something we didn't address today that you wanted to be addressed, definitely let us know. We're going to send you guys a survey, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the next Zoom. Have a good night.